Ah! That's the sound of being thrilled by a roller coaster. Even the bullet isn't enough to keep me on the edge of my seat. That's right, a Stephen King ebook reference in 2020. Get used to it. When it comes to thrills, chills, and blood spills, there's only one option to keep your heart racing like you're being chased down a long hallway by a short serial killer. You guessed it, more horror thrillers. We fired through a feisty 5-some last time, so today we're gonna make it 10. So grab a bucket of popcorn you can nervously burrow your way through and maybe put on an older pair of PJ shorts. It's time for some more white knuckle action. Hello horror heads and welcome back to the scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host Keegan Hughes and today we're going to take a look at the top 5 horror thrillers you couldn't look away from, part 2. If intrigue intrigues you, make sure to check out our top 5 scary movies playlist right over here for endless entertainment and exceptional value. Outstanding, let's get started. Coming in at number 5, 7. Fincher, you mad genius. You created a movie that nobody can resist bringing up in a conversation about messed up or sinning, or thrillers in general. Man, this is a good movie. Of course, it kind of falls into the same zone as Silence of the Lambs, where I can't really be sure if it's actually categorized as horror. Like, there are some creepy bits in here, and the bodies that they discover are often disfigured in really upsetting ways, but is it actually a horror movie? For the purposes of today's video, the answer is yes. Question me and pay the price. We follow Detective David Mills as he starts a new position in a new city. He just moved out there with his wife and wants to make a difference. Soon, a friendship blossoms between Mills and soon-to-retire Somerset. They're set to investigate a bunch of grotesque murders, ones inspired by the 7 deadly sins. There's a man who was forced to eat himself to death, a greedy lawyer forced to remove a pound of flesh from his body, and a man tied to a bed, kept just barely alive for an extended period of time. The kills continue as they investigate, leading the 2 detectives closer and closer to their killer. 7's been around for quite a while now, so I would assume that it's the kind of movie nobody can get mad at spoilers for, but in the interest in letting any interested parties watch the chaos unfold totally organically, I'll stop my plot summary there. What I will do though is praise it for defying expectations multiple times and really twisting the knife once it goes in. The way each new crime is revealed is fascinating and engaging, and Fincher manages to keep the feeling of tension and helplessness alive the entire time. Quality performances, pitch perfect camera work, and the most gut-wrenching ending of 1995 all come together to ensure whoever starts this movie will finish it at least a whole foot closer to the screen than when they started. Coming in at number 4, we've got The Bone Collector. Surprisingly enough, this movie is not about archaeology. It's about a serial killer very much like the one in 7. They're creative. Each crime scene is like a little piece of performance art. This lunatic who buries people in gravel and hacks off their fingers. Well, that happens once, I guess. Other kills involve the use of rats to eat someone's face off and tying a grandfather-granddaughter duo to a pier during rising tide. Very creative indeed. Angelina Jolie and Denzel Washington headline this thriller and do a really good job of making you like the characters. You care about them, so all the insane stuff they have to deal with has that much more impact. Most thrillers have a little bit of restraint when it comes to the kills, but not The Bone Collector. This wild ride has been likened to slasher flicks many times and deserves these comparisons entirely. Just a blast and a half if you can look past the contrived story. Coming in at number 3, we've got From Hell. We've actually talked about the graphic novel this movie was based on before. Definitely worth a read if you enjoyed the movie, and it's on our top 5 scary graphic novels list too. It's wicked either way. Back to the flick though. This is the tale of a detective trying to track down Jack the Ripper, like the Jack the Ripper. Oh yeah. Johnny Depp is Inspector Frederick Aberline, the opium-smoking wonderkind that can see things other people can't. You know, as long as he stays away from the opium dens. Or actually, the opium might be helping him, but that's besides the point. As more and more die, it becomes clear that a serial killer's on the loose. One with more education than you'd think too, based on the really precise kills. Turns out the Freemasons are involved and Mr. Aberline is in serious danger. Plenty of intrigue here. This is the story of Jack the Ripper in context with the times. Work was controversial, so rich, powerful people didn't really want to be associated with it. So it sort of makes sense for a Masonic maniac to go around tearing women apart to protect his and his colleagues' reputations. Bringing all sorts of elements together from all sorts of genres, From Hell weaves a complex web. We have gothic tendencies, we have slasher-style kills, and we have a Sherlock-style lead. It's fascinating and freaky at the same time. Coming in at number 2, I Saw the Devil. Now, if you're seriously looking for some more thrillers that get to the core of human nature, you've got to go international. Korean film has gone long underappreciated, especially in the thriller horror sphere. Hollywood gets a lot of flack for relying on the same tired tropes and always resolving everything at the end, and that kind of stuff happens a lot less in South Korean film. Sure, Parasite exploded out of the scene and opened everyone's eyes, but now it's time to delve a little deeper. I Saw the Devil is a truly dark, painful, and challenging thriller. We kick off with a truly brutal murder. A pregnant woman is beaten, kidnapped, and chopped to pieces. Turns out her fiance is an agent of the National Intelligence System, and he's he swears to enact revenge on whoever did this to her. After a short investigation, he discovers the identity of her killer. Staking out his house, he finds the killer assaulting a schoolgirl and brutally beats him. Instead of killing him outright, he places a GPS tracker in the killer. Then, every time the killer tries to pull off another murder, the widower shows up and tortures him again. This turns into the world's most violent game of cat and mouse, with both killer and agent attempting to outsmart and outbleed the other. Every time the violence seems like it's gonna peak, something even more vile and vicious happens. This is a movie that will stick with you long after you watch it. It's really hard to forget. And with that, I'll let you go and watch it. So maybe bring a barf bag and an oxygen tank though, just in case. And finally, at number 1, we've got Green Room. Oh baby, this is one of the craziest, tensest flicks out there. Once it kicks off, every moment is more heinous and callous than the last. We follow a punk band as they tour America in their van, barely making enough money at each show to make it to the next one. When a venue cancels on them, they're forced to make a detour to a bar in the middle of the woods to make sure they've got enough money to keep going. At first, it's pretty uncomfortable, you know, because it's a bar, but they play their show, have some bottles thrown at them, collect their cash, and head for the exit. But whoops, somebody forgot their phone in the green room. Better go grab it. This is now the story of accidentally witnessing a murder at a bar. Not a situation anybody wants to find themselves in. From that point on, the band has to fight for their lives against a bunch of murderous skinheads who want them to stay quiet. Dead quiet. This flick contains some of the most brutal, unsparing violence in recent memories. Arms are crushed in doors, bellies are slit open, dogs are sicked on unsuspecting individuals. And all this happens without any sort of embellishment. It's just human bodies being damaged. Of course, a thriller's nothing without some stand-up performances, and this movie has plenty of them. The late, great Anton Yelchin leads the way with fantastic support from Macon Blair, Imogen Poots, and of course, Patrick Stewart. For an experience that'll keep you on the edge of your seat for the entire runtime, check out Green Room. Seriously, go watch this movie right now. Do it. Are you thrilled, chilled, blessed, and skilled? Sorry, I felt a bit of a rhythm there, but what'd you think of the list? Have you seen any of these movies, and which is your favorite? What's the best horror thriller of all time? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more hysterical ones from the top 5 horror thrillers you couldn't look away from, part 1. It says, Nakvi says, I'm only 7 years old, so why are you making horror? I don't really know how to reply to that. I suppose the real question is, what are you doing here if you're only 7? The _anime_waffle says, Keegan said jumping backwards up the stairs at top speeds. Now I want to try to speedrun Mario 64. I think you should do it. Unfortunately, it looks like the backwards long jumping got patched in 3D All-Stars, so you're gonna have to find an older version to do it. Epsilon Zero says, dude, I live in Newfoundland near the coast. Whilst doing some catch and release fishing on the rocks, I got too close to a gull nest. The damn thing was dropping rocks on me for an hour. Birds are wicked savage. They never seem to forget, now do they? Simon Quartus says, Keegan, I don't know if it's the movie that pronounced Simone that way, but since I have the same name, it's killing me to hear you say it that way. At least in my house, it's pronounced Simon. Simon or Simone? Simone? Man, I'm just saying it the way they said it in the movie, I think. And Guibox3 says, Keegan says he never considered the ideas of birds being exceedingly scary. Clearly he has not encountered the dreaded cobra chicken, the pissed off and plain old mean Canadian goose. Mess with them at your own peril. Oof, I didn't even consider that. To me, Canadian geese aren't even birds, they're just demons that crap everywhere. And that's all the time we have for today. Before I overinflate my tires and take a long road trip down a dirt road, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more personal peril. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. There's only one option to keep your heart racing like you're being chased down a long hallway. For endless entertainment value and exceptional... Whoa, what am I saying? The kills continue as they investigate, leading the 2 other... Nope. This wild ride has been likened to the slasher whoop 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 whoop.